Well, excited to be here. It's an exciting time to be a Cincinnati Bengal. We've got the number one pick, so we got a lot of decisions ahead of us. Wasn't a fun way to how we got to this point, but it is what it is, and we got to take all the lessons we learned from 2019 and make sure that they make us a better team in 2020. And that's what we're setting out to do this spring and going into training camp. And just excited to get the process started here at the Combine. So go ahead if you got any questions, fire away. Yeah, Joe Burrow had a great college career, and he's been fun to watch as we get this process started. Really, that's where we're at right now, and I haven't even got a chance to meet him face to face, just like a lot of prospects so far at this point. But certainly did himself a lot of good to put himself in this conversation and put himself in this position, and he's going to be a great NFL player.
You said you haven't had a tie. Is that how
Hey, how you doing?
You said you haven't had a chance to meet him yet?
No, we have not had a chance to meet Joe yet. And, we just started meeting with guys on Sunday and Monday for the first time. And so we still got 5 days left. And we'll get a chance to get in front of him these next couple days.
Okay, next couple days. So I was just asking during your Clippers, how do you detach from, like the recent success with Joe Burrow, right, compared to perhaps a potential overall ceiling of a Tua, even though maybe he might not be as ready right now, compared to your present needs right now, right, at the position, given your Andy and
Yeah, that's really, you're asking how we compare the different potential top picks and how we evaluate which one's the best fit for us. And really, that's why we get a chance to utilize this 4-month process. Our scouts have done a great job all season evaluating these guys and how the coaching staff gets to get involved. And that's why the Combine is such a great resource. The Senior Bowl was a great resource for us. We got to use all the tools that the NFL has given us to make this decision. And we don't need to be premature about it. Everybody wants it to happen today. They want to hear who we're going to pick. But we're going to go through our process and make sure we're finding the right guy that's a good fit for the Bengals. What makes coaches' kids different? I think that they're just around the game so much. They start watching film maybe at a young age. They ask all the questions. I just picture my 9-year-old son, the questions he asks me on a daily basis. And, so they just get a little bit more involved in the game at an earlier age and look at it a little bit differently, probably because their dads talk to them a little bit differently about the game. So, oftentimes you say the term coach's kid like it's a good term. It's a way to compliment somebody, and it's usually because that kid's grown up around the game. They understand what their dad goes through, what other players go through, and they just have a different perspective on the approach. What does my son ask me? He knows all that stuff. He's pretty deep. He's watches a lot of football and plays Madden all the time. He likes to compare older players to newer players. Hey, who's better, Dan Marino or Patrick Mahomes? He throw questions like that at me, and sometimes it's a little bit too difficult to answer. Well, that's a decision we're trying to make right now, and again, we just got a chance to meet Tua for the first time last night. Really impressive person. You can see why he's had the success. He's a state champion in high school, champion in college. You can see why he's been able to lead his teams to all that stuff. And now we get a chance to meet some of the other quarterbacks in the draft as well. And so that part of the process is really exciting for us. Defensively, there's some really good prospects. Chase Young, like you mentioned, has had an outstanding career and is going to be an instant impact player in this league. And so, again, that's what we have to utilize this process for. And we're going to go meet with those guys face to face, go watch them work out in their college towns, and make sure we make the best decision for the Bengals come April. Say that, start over. Right. Well, it's until we get to that point, it's not even worth thinking about. It was a tough process to get to this point. I wouldn't ever want to replicate the season we just had, but what you have to do is you have to pull the learning, teachable moments from that season and make sure we don't make the same mistakes twice. We build on all the adversity we faced to become a better team. And then what was the second part of that question? I apologize. What would it take to make the trade? Again, those are just things that we're working through as this offseason process goes on, and right now it's all the options are on the table, and it's a great position to be in. Very confident. We want him to be a part of Cincinnati, and he's got a great history with the organization. He's been a great member of the community, great leader on our team. Even facing the adversity he faced really the last year and a half, he's been around in all the meetings, and I've really enjoyed getting to know AJ. I look forward to coaching AJ, really for the first time going to next season. But we're still working through the process with him, but we know that he's going to be a Bengal come September.
How Larry Fitzgerald is in Arizona is like a veteran guy that can help the young quarterbacks.
There's no question. He's a premier receiver in this league, and he can help any quarterback that he plays with. He's a good mentor for a lot of the younger players. He's still got a lot of juice left in the tank, so we're glad that he's part of our organization. Well, we'll look at the best ways to supplement our roster. That's the beauty of getting through year one as a new coaching staff is we finally got a chance to get our hands on the players, see how they best fit our schemes, what additions do we need to make to really help ourselves next year, and that's where free agency and the draft comes into play. And so to call him the number one domino is tough to say. He's a big piece of that puzzle, but we're certainly doing, I think, a really good job evaluating our needs and how we can help ourselves.
Zac, even though Taylor said he was just basically clear March 9, how hard is it still to get an injury history, even because
You're asking about Tua's injury history. You want to go through the background on every player, whether it's an injury history, background, whatever it is that helps you make that decision. And you want to see these guys get a chance to work this spring, and he's going to be healthy at some point. You get a chance to go watch him work out. And again, he's put himself in a great position here to have a great future in this league, and certainly a guy that we've been excited to watch and excited to meet with. And so hopefully he comes back healthy and is able to put his best foot forward. Lefties in the NFL. It's hard to say. Maybe a lot of them become pitchers, and they choose a different profession. But I've certainly been around a lot of really good ones. Seen Kellen Moore, Matt Leinart, Chris Sims. I got a chance to see all those guys play, and they've had success. Steve Young. So there's a lot of guys out there that have done it, and wouldn't hold that against the guy. Well, you get a chance. All that really matters is the rotation's a little bit different sometimes, but the receivers, they pick up on that very quickly when you get a chance to really work with them. And so certainly the guy's been a champion at every level. So obviously he's made it work in high school in Hawaii and college at Alabama. The guy's won championships everywhere he's been, and so I think you'd be silly to hold that against him. Yeah, how do we convince a guy we're committed to winning? You wouldn't be coaching this league if you weren't committed to winning. I think that's a little bit of a silly narrative there because we're doing everything we can to be a championship caliber team. And if you come in our building and you feel the energy from our scouting department, our coaches, our players, you'd have no question about that. And I think that the players that get a chance to spend time with the players we have on our roster and this coaching staff will know that it's something that people want to be on board with, and there's great days ahead for the Bengals. Yeah, the excitement to have the number one pick is it's a good position to be in. Again, I'm not happy with how we got here, but now that we're here, certainly you get a chance to use these 4 months however you see fit, and we're in a position we get to decide. Last year we had the 11th pick, and we knew we wanted Jonah, but you're sitting there crossing your fingers as every pick ticks off the clock, and is he going to get taken or not? Now hey, if we find a guy we want at number one, we can go take him, and it takes a little bit of that stress off your plate. I think we can make a decision whenever we want, but I think it's necessary to use every day that we get, and there's no reason to be premature with the decision. We're here. We want to make sure that we know everything we can about these prospects worthy of that top pick, and we'll use every second we can. Yeah, the hand size thing, it's a fun story. It gives you something to talk about, but certainly been around a lot of good quarterbacks that have had what people think are small hands, and they've been really effective in this league, and so there's no concerns about that stuff. Plenty of guys that have shot that narrative right out of the water and have had great success and won Super Bowls, and so, again, they come in all shapes and sizes at this point in the league, and certainly a lot of guys have shut down that line of thinking.
Burrow said he feels like his pocket presence is one of Where does that fit in when you evaluate quarterbacks? How high is that on the list of what you need to have? Is that an innate quality, or is that something that a guy learns over time?
A little bit of both. He's asking about the pocket presence of Joe Burrow. A little bit of both. It is. Some guys have a better sense than others. Something you certainly spend a lot of time on as a quarterback coach, working with those guys, making sure they got a great presence and understand how to use their feet and when. But that's one of the great traits about him is he is able to extend plays and has a good feel for the rush and can get out on the perimeter. And his guys did a good job, playing with him in that regard. They threw a lot of touchdown passes that way. So that's one of the things you're looking for in a quarterback. Can he create and extend plays? You don't always call the perfect call. The protection's not always the best. And so sometimes those guys got to be able to get on the perimeter and extend plays and make a play when you wouldn't think there's one to be made. And that's something that he's really shown on tape. The schedule being flipped here at the Combine, right now it feels the same because we still do the interviews at night. I think Thursday, once the players start working out on the field at nighttime, that's the first we'll get a chance to feel how different it is. But right now it's kind of business as usual as far as the last couple of years I've been at the Combine. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that it'll start to feel a little different. I think it'll be interesting to watch. They changed some of the drills on the field, which it's kind of been the same way for a long time. And so it'll be exciting to see. I know they added the red zone fade drill down there with the quarterbacks and receivers. I'm interested to see that one play out. But it'll give you something new to watch. What's the one trait quarterbacks got to have? Does he elevate those around him? The guys believe in him in that crunch time because there's going to be a lot of those moments in this league where you got tight games. You got to believe in your leader, and he's got to make sure that the guys around him are playing to the best of their abilities. And so that's always the number one trait you're looking for in a QB. You have to fight against the urge to overthink it. No, we have a process we go through. And again, Duke Tobin has been doing this a long time for us. He's got a great staff. They started this process, at the beginning of the season. And so they've really got us headed in the right direction. We believe in our process. There's a lot of stories that get to be written right now. But we just ignore all that stuff. We follow our process, and we'll make a great decision come April. How do I feel about Alex Van Pelt? Great coach. Hate to lose him because he was a great resource for us. Again, it was just an opportunity that we had to allow him to take because he's earned it, and you don't want to stunt somebody's growth in that way. But unfortunately, he's in our division. That's the part you don't love. But again, he's a great man. He's earned this right to be the offensive coordinator for the Browns. Unfortunately, they're going to be in great hands with him at the helm there.
Zac, you might be one of the last coaches to compete against Tom Brady as a Patriot. I'm just wondering if you can take me back to your week of study before that game when you played them in December, and then what you saw from him on that Sunday.
What I see from Tom Brady, I don't like playing against Tom Brady. I was in the division with him for 4 years, and he's one of the all-time great quarterbacks, and so it's never fun preparing for him.
Was it the same guy you saw for those years when you saw him in December? Because you were one of the last ones.
The guy's a winner. He always finds a way to get it done, and so it's, again, not a fun guy to play against.